Hello, and welcome to HEINEKEN Tech Insights, your podcast from Heineken Krakow. Throughout this podcast, we'll be sharing insights and learnings from some of Heineken's top specialists who are shaping the digital future of Heineken. Join us to meet our experts, gain valuable knowledge, and see how what happens in Krakow goes around the world. I am Mateusz Komander, your host, and I'm excited to introduce our first series, Agile Transformation at Heineken, Insights, Growth, and Learning from the Front Lines. Hello, and welcome back to our From One Role to Another series, where we explore the ins and outs of career transition within Heineken. In this episode, we'll look at the real challenges employees face when changing roles and the growth opportunities these challenges bring. Joining me this week again are Kuba and Gosia, who have first-hand experience navigating a career switch here at Heineken. Both of you, welcome back.
Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Great. So, last time we talked about why and how you switched the careers. We also touched a little bit about the challenges. But today, this will be our main focus about discussing the bumps along the roads, because I believe every journey has them. Yeah. So, what would you say were the most significant obstacle you encountered, and how did you work them through?
So I think that honestly, for me, really big thing when I'm thinking about the change right now was about to find my replacement. Kuba in the last episode was telling about planning a lot of time, enough time for the change. And with finding the replacement, this is also super important to help yourself with the transition. Back then, my former manager was really supportive with the transition, but we also, as the organization, has been in the pretty difficult time in finding the new Scrum Masters. And also for my teams, we needed someone experienced because it was a pretty complex environment and we needed a Scrum Master with at least few years of experience who can handle that, let's say. So it is not so easy. As you know, if you are looking for an expert, sometimes if you are also looking from someone from outside the organization, those people also have the notice periods, which can be 3 months or even more. So it is not so fast. So you need to be prepared for a thing that the change might be a little bit longer than you expected. And also for me, I had a time when I was 1 foot still in an old team as a Scrum Master and already in the new team, also with 1 foot with this big urge of I need to deliver something. I really need to prove to myself and the others that I'm a good addition to this team. And it was honestly a very difficult time. So looking back, I think I would not push myself so hard and plan a little bit more time for that transition, realizing that it is not so easy to find someone new. And I also need to plan some time for the knowledge transfer for the new person and for myself to settle down in the new team and really earn those skills.
Okay, and how was it for you, Kuba?
Yeah, so as last time I said, as a project specialist, I was mainly focused on driving project forward. Within the Scrum Master role, I need to understand that I'm not coordinating the work of the whole team of each segment. They do not report me what is the progress, in that sense that I cannot influence that. I focus more on active listening, building relationship with the team, and gradually taking more responsibilities, which help me understand the dynamics of the environment and integrate with the team more effectively.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, and you mentioned that you needed to change a lot within that, but I am sure that there was definitely some past experience from the previous role you had that actually could help with the transition.
Yes, so as I mentioned before, during my project manager career, I was working also in Agile project, so I already was knowing the mechanics. My PSM1 certification also provided a foundation for me to work in IT-driven environment. However, I had to learn some certain habits that I could take from my previous role and put them into life here. So.
Okay, could you give us like any example? Is there anything that's pop in your mind as an example that you could share?
Yeah, building the strong relationships with colleagues. So to see them not only as another person behind the behind the monitor, but somebody that you really collaborate with and you can count on.
Okay, so networking. I'm hearing that from both of you, but Gosha, maybe a little bit from your experience. Is there any like what would be the most or more impactful skills that you believe you were able to bring from your past experience as a Scrum Master to become or to be one of the security awareness specialists?
Yeah, definitely. I think as a Scrum Master, you are working a lot on improving the team efficiency, and that very, very often relates to the human factor, which you need to use a little bit of psychology when you are solving various problems. Now working on the managing human risk and improving the security culture in the entire organization, that actually relates a lot on psychological theories and also understand the rationales why, for example, humans falls for the phishing emails, or why they are performing the certain actions and can cause the risk for the organization. This is also very much related to human psychology. So from this perspective, Scrum Master experience was already extremely useful. And also the second thing, I think that providing a lot of trainings as a Scrum Master from Scrum framework, from communication skills, but also upskilling people on processes or ways of working inside of the team. The trainer experience also helped me in my current role, because as the security awareness specialist, the biggest chunk of my work is to train the organization, to build the trainings, but also to train the managers in the certain opcos, to really go out there to people and teach them how to actually behave in the secure way.
Okay, very interesting. So from your perspective, you believe that the actual on-hand experience on trainings might be the biggest asset in your current role, or one of the biggest assets in your current role?
I think one of the biggest assets. There are a lot of qualities from the Scrum Master role, even though those roles are completely different, which helped me a lot in my current role. And a lot of those assets are related to, we call them soft skills. But I think that was one of the really useful things.
Okay, so you mentioned previously that you are with your one foot still in Scrum Master role, and the second foot you already wanted to have some deliverables or something working on in the security awareness role. And I believe you also mentioned that you wanted to prove yourself, show yourself within the new role that when you started. And we know that this new role, the new challenge can be exciting, but also quite often may trigger some feelings of uncertainty if you actually made a good decision, if this is actually the path that I should go. Do I know enough to support others? So did you ever question your ability to success, or if so, or maybe you had any doubts about that, or maybe what how you could reference to that, how you could manage those doubts in essence?
Yeah, of course. I think that this is the part of the change, that you always will have many doubts. And I actually have two answers for that. First is about the questioning my decision. So I was indeed very excited, as you mentioned. Like, I was super happy about the change. I was thinking about it for already quite a long time. And I didn't have a doubt until the moment when my previous manager announced my change within the Scrum Master area. A lot of people pinged me offline on Teams with the messages like, wow, this is so brave. I could have never done something like that to completely change my career path. And then I freaked out. I started to questioning myself, am I doing the right thing? I was working as a Scrum Master for 8 years, and now I'm changing my career completely, leaving everything behind. So that was the first doubt, which I really experienced. And then that was the time when I really needed my mentor from the security area to talk with this person and to really give back to this certainty that I'm actually doing the right thing. And I was upskilling myself already for a long time. It's not a random decision. I'm really going there. And the other doubts, of course, when you are starting the role, you are landing in the area of the already very experienced people. In security in Heineken, we have people who are mostly seniors, who has years of experience in security. So landing there as someone who is completely new, this is really challenging. And you really need to be certain that you wanted to be here where you actually are. Also from a gender perspective, IT world and the security world especially, it's a really male-dominated world where you can feel uncertain as a woman. And last year I actually was attending the Gartner Security Summit where they, during the one lecture, said that only 2% of women worldwide are holding the titles of security specialists or security engineers.
Wow.
And that was also a really shock for me. And this is something what can cause a lot of doubts in your head. Should I do that? Am I in the right place?
Mm-hmm. So maybe before we jump to Kuba, one follow-up question about that, because you mentioned about the fact that you spoke when you got the so-called cold feet. You spoke with your mentor within the security area. So how important do you believe is this mentorship, is this leadership supporting you in changing the role?
For me, extremely important. I honestly think that I have not been here in the security team if not mentors from this area. I had enormous support from the director of a security portfolio, from all the product owners who really believed in me and saw the potential. So without them, I think I wouldn't make that. So I do really recommend that you will find this person to whom you can always go ask questions and clear your doubts which you have in your head.
Okay, that's actually, I think, quite brave statement here, because not many people are in the position about having the cold feet, quite often trying to solve the problem itself instead of reaching out. So quite an interesting learning point. And Kuba, from your perspective, how you, now looking back into switching your role, how do you feel with that? Like, do you believe there was a period for you when you had doubts about that, looking into your previous career, or were you rather like straight on, yeah, I'm just want to transition to being a Scrum Master and I know that I will kill that from the spot?
So I never got the doubt. I was believing if I was giving the opportunity, it means I have a potential to do it. But as Gosia mentioned, there is the moment that if you're a specialist in one field already and you're moving to a totally different one, you feel like a newbie. And that's something you need to learn the things again, you know? So that's something that also may be frustrating on the beginning, because you can see some abbreviation stuff that people are using and you are just making notes all the time and thinking, wow, what is that? But in my case, a regular conversation with other Scrum Master, feedback from my team, that build my confidence that I'm in a good spot. So,
okay, interesting point. And then, if you would be looking into the mentorship, because you said that you had a mentor within the academy, and how would you assess the importance of that mentorship? And maybe if and how does the let's say that's the leadership of your previous role supported you with that transition?
I got full support from my previous role. So they were okay for me to leave the role and grow. Of course, I got some handover to do, as always. And with the mentor, the intro was very important for me. So understanding how does the role really look like from the inside? Because one thing is if you're observing the Scrum Master, but you're not a Scrum Master, you're just a developer or, as in my case, product owner. And then you're starting to seeing what the role is really about. So that's something that I'm very much thankful to Miko to show me around and show me what are the responsibilities, what I need to do, and what to avoid.
Actually, this is a very interesting point that you touched, because you touched the perspective of the role that you had and you jumped into that role. So how different for you was the perspective you had initially compared to what you see now, what the role is about? What is the difference or the biggest learning point that you think is was visualized for you?
For my previous role, I was seeing a Scrum Master more like a janitor on the in our project. It was mostly maybe connected to the way we were working, but now I see that it's much more about the learning and passing the knowledge, passing the good habits, working also not only within the team but whole organization. So that's something that, me in previous role I wasn't aware of, that how many other things the Scrum Master does for the company.
Okay, so maybe now before we wrap up the session, based on what you shared with us today, what would be the key advice when someone is switching career or doing a huge change in their life? What kind of advice you could give them to overcome the obstacle during that role change?
I think a really nice thing to do is to create the plan for yourself and some timelines or deadlines which you need to reach towards too. I was talking a lot about finding your replacement, that takes time, that you need to have the support from your manager. You also need to very honestly talk with your manager, the current one or the previous one, about your expectations. When you expect to move to the role, what are your milestones on the way, how you expect them to help you or what you really need from them. This is extremely important when you are planning the change. So you will not be surprised with waiting for the new person for a few months. You will not be surprised that you still need to do a little bit of your old work when you start your new role. So that clear plan, I think that can really help you.
Okay, interesting. So technically speaking, like buying a ton of courses on Udemy, it's not really a good starting point. Rather start with a plan.
Maybe that's also my personal trait, but I love planning, and I think that actually helps me, because then you have this to-do list or checklist where you can cross things out, or you at least have the milestones which you are leaning towards. Overloading yourself with a lot of online courses and a lot of learnings, that will not help, because you will have still a lot of things to do or finish from your old work. So I do recommend to upskill. I do recommend to take the courses, take the certificates, definitely. But also don't put a lot of pressure for yourself, because you will be pressured anyway. You are starting the new role. People will be expecting a lot of things from you. You will feel this pressure anyway.
Okay, thank you. Kuba?
From my side, networking. So first and foremost, talk to people already working in the role you are applying. Talk with them what might be the obstacles and how do they deal with them. And often, let's use some big words, embrace the change. So growth often means stepping outside your comfort zone. Be ready for that. And in the long run, that will be incredibly rewarding for you.
Okay. Thank you both for joining me today, and thank you for giving this look into the roadblocks and breakthroughs you experienced. Your journey definitely shows how resilient, supportive leadership or mentorship sometimes and practical strategies can help you with the transition. So, to the listeners, join us next time to hear how career switches affect long-term growth, mindset, and future plans at Heineken. To stay connected, be sure to subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and follow Heineken Global Shared Services on LinkedIn. And remember, here at Heineken, we are always looking for rising stars who are ready to make an impact. If you are interested in joining us, you can explore our open positions at heinekenkrakow.pl. We'll be back with more insights from Heineken's agile and digital transformation journey, showing how what happens in Krakow goes around the world. Join us next time to keep learning, growing, and adapting.